All right, here we have our third side of the review for exercises 18 through 21. What is the minimum additional information needed to prove that each triangle pair is congruent using the given theorem? All right, so for number 18, we want side, angle, side. So to use side, angle, side, let's just take note that we have a pair of congruent sides. We have another pair of congruent sides. We do have a congruent angle right here, but when we say side, angle, side, see how the angle is in the middle of the two sides? That's an included angle. So we need the angle in the middle of the two sides. So this angle right here is not in the middle. If we look at where these two angles meet, angle A is actually the included angle, not angle B. So if angle A was congruent to angle B, now we have side, angle, side. So it says what minimum additional information is needed. We would like angle A to be congruent to angle D. Then we could use side, angle, side. All right, number 19, angle, side, angle. Well, let's see. Do we have any of those right now? We do have an angle congruent to an angle. We've got a side congruent to a side. So we do have an angle and a side. Now to use angle, side, angle, the side has to be included and we need another angle. So if I picked angle O, the included side would be the side connecting them right here, which it's not. What if we picked angle Q? If we made angle Q congruent to angle N over here, would the included side between our two angles be congruent? And it would. So you would have angle, side, angle if angle Q was congruent to angle N. So that's the additional information we would want. Angle Q, we want to be congruent to angle N. All right, so for number 20, if we want to use HL, remember HL, we can only use with right triangles. Well, if I look at this picture, we're not told that anything is a right triangle, so that's probably going to be something we need to add into the picture. But let's just see what else we have. We do have a congruent side. Now with HL, that means hypotenuse, leg. For this picture, if I just look at one of the triangles, I'm going to predict that the right angle would be at angle J. I can't say, oh, well, that's a right angle because it looks like a right angle, but they're asking us to kind of bring in something so that we can use HL. So what if we brought in that this was a right angle? So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Let's say that this is a right angle. If our right angle is here, then these two sides that are connected to your right angle, those are the legs. So right now we have a leg. The other thing we need to be congruent is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is going to be across from your right angle. So we would want GK to be, from this triangle, to be congruent to GK in this triangle. Well, here's one of those examples where GK is a shared side, so it actually is congruent to itself. We don't need to add that in. That's just something we need to notice, like there's a congruency. So right now we do have the hypotenuse congruent and the leg congruent as long as they are right triangles. So that's the information we're going to add in. We want angle J right here to be a right angle, and we want angle H to be a right angle. So angle J and angle H are right angles. If we have that, then we can use HL. All right, number 21, angle, angle, side. So let's take a look at what exists in the picture and what we have to add in ourselves. So I see a right angle. When you have a right angle with a straight line, or really any angle with a straight line, these two angles are a linear pair, meaning they add up to 180 degrees. So if you have a right angle on one side, we do have a right angle on the other side. So there is a congruency. We have a congruent angle. Again, we didn't add in that angle. It just was there unmarked for us. Other things we can look for, vertical angles, a shared side, overlapping, anything. So XY is part of both triangles. That's a shared side. So that means that XY is congruent to itself. So we've got another congruency. So right now we have, there we go. So we have an angle and we have a side, but we want to use angle, angle, side. So we have an angle, we have a side, so we need one more angle to be congruent. We want to choose the angle that would make sure that this side is not included between the two angles. Because angle, angle, side is a non-included side. If they wanted the included side, the S would be in between the two angles right there. So angle, side, if I were to mark this angle congruent, then I would have two angles in the side in between them. That makes this an included side, but it's not an included side, so I don't want this to be the congruent angle. So that leaves us with angle W. So if angle W is congruent to angle Z, now we have two angles, angle, angle, and a non-included side. So we want angle W to be congruent to angle Z. Oh, well, typo. Use triangle STU for exercise 22. Just one problem, 22. So the question here is triangle WVS, so let's find triangle WVS. Let's see here, WVS over here. Is this congruent to WVU? Here's WVU. All right, well, I don't know. Are these two triangles congruent? Let's see if we have enough congruencies to use one of our triangle congruence theorem. So first thing I noticed right away is our right angle. So right angle, straight line, which means these two are a linear pair. They'll add up to 180. So if we have a right angle here, that means there is a right angle there. It's just unmarked. So we'll go ahead and mark that right angle. And our two triangles share a side right here. So anytime you have a shared side, that's another congruency that's unmarked you get to put in your picture. I'm going to give it 2 congruency marks. All right, so let's see what we have here. We have a side congruent to a side. We have this right angle congruent to this right angle. And we have this side congruent. So we have two sides in an angle. If you notice the two sides where they meet, this is one of our congruent angles. So this is what an included angle looks like. So this is side, angle, side. Two sides and the included angle.